Hello guys, welcome to another video of Kubernetes. In today's video, we are going to understand what is kubectl and how we can install that in our local or even in virtual machines so that you can manage your Kubernetes cluster with this kubectl command line tool. So I am in Kubernetes official documentation. Let's see what is the definition of kubectl here. Okay. So if you see here, Kubernetes provides a command line tool for communicating with a Kubernetes cluster control plane using the Kubernetes API. This tool is named kubectl. Okay, so if you are trying to manage your Kubernetes cluster, then you will have to communicate with your Kubernetes cluster with some way, right? So we use kubectl tool to manage our Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so this is a command line tool which we can install in our PC, or if that is Windows Server or Linux Server or even your MacBook. We can install this kubectl command line tool, and we can use this command line tool to communicate with our Kubernetes cluster using the Kubernetes API. This kubectl tool will send the request to Kubernetes API in the Kubernetes cluster control plane, which we have already seen. It will directly communicate with the Kubernetes web API server, which generally exists in main control plane, or that is also called master node. Okay, so if you scroll down here, you can see more information about kubectl, like what are the syntax and how we can install it as well. So if you see the syntax here, we use this syntax to run any kubectl commands, okay, from the terminal. So this is the keyword kubectl to invoke this command line tool, and here you will have to get the command. Okay, here you will have to provide the type, name and flags. Okay, if you see here, where command is equal to specifies the operation that you want to perform on one or more resources. Okay, so suppose you want to get the number of pods, or you want to create the pods, okay, or you want to describe, delete or something like this, you can specify here in place of commands like kubectl get pods. Okay, so this will list all the pods inside your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so here this command is called get, and here you will have to provide the type like pods or whatever service if you want to get the service. Okay, here if you see type specifies the resource type, which resource type you want to get. Uh, in place of name, you will have to specify here, specify the name of resource. Names are case sensitive. If the name is omitted, details for all resources are displayed. Okay, so suppose you want to get the details of some particular pod, okay, right, like pod 1, then you can run this command. This will give you details about this pod only. Okay, so this is what we provide the name here, like this. Okay, and in place of flags, we use this specify optional flags. For example, you can use the -s or hyphen server flags to specify the address and port of the Kubernetes API server. Okay, if you scroll down, you will see the few other details as well. We'll just discuss the important ones. Here are some of the commands, like what are the commands you can use to run with kubectl, like kubectl apply and all. You can come to this documentation and refer if you need this in more details. We'll discuss about the basic Kubernetes kubectl commands in further videos in detail as well. Okay, so here we have some of the commands. If you keep scrolling, you'll get all the commands along with the explanation, like how you can use and create or manage your Kubernetes cluster using kubectl. Okay, if you want to install it, you can just click on installing kubectl. Here you will get an option to install this either on Linux or macOS or Windows. If your OS is Windows or Linux or macOS, you can click on this and you can follow the steps. Like if you open on Windows, we'll see how you can install this on Windows. You can download the latest version of kubectl and you can install that. So since we are working with Azure Kubernetes Service, we can just directly use the Azure CLI commands as well to install our um, AKS CLI, that is also called kubectl. Okay, so if you come here in this documentation, I am in Microsoft Azure CLI documentation, AKS command. This command is used to manage the Azure Kubernetes cluster with Azure CLI. Okay, here you will have all the commands related to Azure AKS. So this command, I mean one of these commands we can use to do anything. Like if you see, if you want to create a cluster, you can use this command like AKS create. This will create a new managed Kubernetes cluster. So we have all the commands here for Azure Kubernetes Service, and you can do everything in that whatever you want. So we have also one command to install kubectl as well with Azure CLI. So if you want to install kubectl with Azure CLI, you will have to install Azure CLI first. That is Azure CLI as well. If you have this installed already, you can install AKCLI as well, that is kubectl. So let me check if I have Azure CLI is installed or not. So I have typed this command. Let's wait for the output. Meanwhile, we'll see what is the command to install the AKCLI. Let me search it. Azure AKS-install -CLI. So this command will install the kubectl. This will download and install kubectl. The Kubernetes command line tool download and install kubelogin, a client Go credentials plugin implementing Azure authentication. So if you run this command, this will basically download and install the kubectl inside your local. That can be Windows or that can be Linux as well. Okay, so let's see if we have the Azure CLI installed. Yeah, we can see the Azure CLI is installed. So we can directly run this command to install the AKCLI or Kubernetes uh, command line tool kubectl as well. Okay, here we have some of the arguments you can provide, but we don't need this since we are just installing the kubectl. Let me run this command here. Let me just quickly copy it and paste it here. Let's see. So this will download the kubectl. You can see downloading client to see here. From this we'll get the latest version of kubectl. From here it is installing the kubectl, or it will first downloading the kubectl.exe file from this location, okay, inside my PC, that is local path. Okay, once this is downloaded, it will install all the dependencies or even all the packages related to the Kubernetes uh, command line tool kubectl. And once it is installed, you can run all the kubectl commands, like how you can even do that as well. Let's wait for it to download. At the moment it's downloading the files kubelogin.zip. Once this is downloaded, it will be automatically installed. Okay, so you can see the installation directory has been successfully appended to the user path. The configuration will only take effect in the new command session. Please reopen the command window. So this kubectl has been installed, and if you just rerun this command line into cmd tool again, you can just use the aks command as well. Okay, so see, if I just when run this aks command, it is asking for sub commands as well. Let me check if this is working or not. So if you can see, this aks command is working, or you can now use kubectl as well. See, when I ran this kubectl command, it is giving me the option to see. If I run this kubectl -hyphen help and command as well, it will give all the information about kubectl commands. Okay, so this is how we can install kubectl using Azure CLI to manage our AKS cluster. If you want to install kubectl with different methods or in different environments, you can follow this documentation as well, and this will help you to install the kubectl inside your PC. But the shortest way is to install this with Azure CLI. You don't have to do anything, just run one command and it will install the kubectl for you inside your laptop or inside your virtual machine. Okay, so in today's video we saw how we can install the command line tool for Kubernetes, that is called kubectl, and in further videos we'll know more about this, and we'll understand how we can use this to run Kubernetes commands, and we'll also see the demo of the videos like in further videos. So if we learn about pods, then first we'll see one demo about the pods, then we'll move ahead for services, replica sets, and other things. So one video will be of theory and another video will be of demo class. Okay, so this is how we are going to proceed further in Kubernetes, so that you can understand it better, or your concept will be clear. Okay, that's it from this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe my channel. If you have any feedback or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.